Okay, guys, like I have the craziest friendship experience story time that I just like have been holding for years, and it just came to my attention that this is like happening to more people from these people. So now I'm just like, okay, it's my time. I'm obviously not going to say names or anything. I'm just going to call them thing 1, thing 2. They're twin sisters. That's pretty much all you need to know to put the pieces together here. But like, have you guys been friends with like people that just like lie about like anything and everything? Well, yeah, like now take that, times it by a million. Like, think like pretends they have cancer level. Yeah. And like, I'm not gonna talk about like other people's experiences necessarily, but like, let's just say like they've done things like this before. And there's so many red flags, and honestly, I feel like so stupid because I was just trying to see the good in them. Like, they seemed like super nice people when I met them, and I just should have known. Like, anyways, so start off with them like lying about like random stuff. Like, they graduated early, they went to like McGill, and their mom is like the head of cancer care, and this and that, like all these things that are easy enough to fact check and like see that that is not true, obviously. But this is where it really happened and became like personal and actually affected me emotionally. So we booked a trip to Calgary Stampede. We'd only been friends for probably like 2 or 3 months at this point. But we're like, like they're down for things, I'm down for things, like let's book this trip. And there's 5 of us going, so it's me, my friend, them 2, and their friend. And like the hard part about it is because like unless you experienced it personally, like you will never understand this truly. But now that I know other people have experienced it like firsthand, it like makes me feel like I can actually share this and not feel like crazy. So pretty much the very first night that we get to Stampede, one of them is in the room with us, one of them is in a different room getting ready, and the one in the room with us just starts crying and saying how she like pretty much is gonna die, and she has lung cancer and is on a lung transplant list, and that she's been in and out of the hospital for the last like month or something without us knowing. And like, first of all, these girls are the biggest attention seekers ever. If there was actually something happening where they had to go to the hospital, they would be telling everybody and anybody about it. So I already know this isn't true. Plus, if you're on a lung transplant list, you are not at Calgary Stampede drinking and partying. Never mind like smoking or like anything like that. So anyways, I'm not believing it. My friend's not believing it. We're kind of like laughing about it because like, not to be mean or anything, but we're just like, we don't believe you. A little background where how this makes this personal to me. This summer, my grandpa had actually been dying of cancer the entire summer and passed away actually a month after this happened. But yeah, I was watching him die all summer. So like talking about cancer and like making like a lie about it is just something that's so wrong in so many ways, but it was just especially personal to me. And my other grandpa died when I was younger from lung cancer, and we found out he had lung cancer because he collapsed. And so I kind of bring this up. I'm like, girl, like, you don't have lung cancer. You're definitely not on a lung transplant list because, like, if you actually did, you wouldn't be here and, like, you wouldn't be able to party because, like, my grandpa collapsed when he had lung cancer because he couldn't breathe, this, and that. So keep in mind that I did share this story with them. So I couldn't be around them anymore, so I let like thing 1 go out alone, and thing 2 stayed with us. And me and my friend were kind of like talking to her like, girl, like, is this for real? Because like there's always 2 of them together, we rarely have one of them separate. And she's kind of like telling us like, yeah, she like kind of lies a lot, and like she is like kind of a problem, and she like hurts a lot of our friendship. And so her own sister is telling us like, this girl does lie, like, and I just get dragged into it. And then later that night, we get a call from the friend that went with thing 1, and is like, guys, you have to come to the staircase right now. There's like an emergency. We run into the staircase, and there is thing 1 laid out, passed out in the stairwell, pretending that she's unconscious. And I asked the friend, like, how much did she have to drink? Because like that was like where my mind went first, was like, oh, maybe she drank too much, and this is like whatever. But she's like, she didn't really drink much. So I'm like, okay, like maybe she got roofied or something. So regardless, I was like, we're gonna call 911, okay? So I'm like, boop, boop, okay, I'm calling. And then she like magically awakens, and it's like, oh, I'm alive. Super dramatic, may I add. And she's like, my lung, like, I need my medicine. And her sister goes and grabs the bronchitis puffer that they had from when they had bronchitis like a week earlier, that they were still both having, like they were both coughing like weird, which they were trying to play it off as like the lung cancer, but it was because they have bronchitis. Anyways, so then I like put all of the pieces together, and I was like, oh my god, she's trying to pretend like to pass out to try and make this more believable, that like, because this is what happened to my grandpa when he found out he had lung cancer. And that's when I was like, these people are evil. Okay, well, safe to say I was not friends with them after that experience, and they kind of apologized after for other things, but not for that specific thing. But yeah, the rest of Stampede was horrible. It was just not good. To this day, it was like the biggest waste of my money and time that I've ever had in my life. But whatever. So I got back home and I wrote out this entire notes thing, which I'm sure I could probably find somewhere still. It had all the receipts of like everything, all their lies, everything they've ever said, like everything. And at the end, because I was like, okay, I honestly think that someone should just tell them these things, because if I was this psychotic and delusional, I would want someone to just tell me. And at the very end, I said, if I hear anything about me come out of your mouths, I will make sure this was like spread around. Like, people will hear about this. And the only reason I said that is because every close friend they've ever had in the past, they have spread the craziest, weirdest, like actually horrible lies about, like very controversial, which I'm not going to get into. And like that, I respect those people a lot because they really went through it. And obviously all that part of it was taken out if I were to share it with anybody. But whatever, I sent it to them, never heard anything back again. Honestly, never really saw them again. A week later, I hear, oh, actually, we stopped being friends with her because she just got super jealous of us at Stampede because we're getting all the male attention over her. And I just, like, couldn't help but laugh because I was like, you couldn't have thought of anything else, like, anything, like, maybe believable. So after that, I was like, you know what? Screw it. And I, like, made a private story with a bunch of, like, my close girlfriends. And I was like, here you go, guys. Eat this up. And honestly, it was, like, a PSA to, like, my close friends. Like, do not fall for this trap of a friendship because it's not worth it. Well, last weekend, it's been, like, years. And I'm, like, completely over it now. But these two people came up and they're like, hey, so you're friends with the twins, right? And I was like, I haven't heard this in forever. But I was like, yeah, actually, I was. They're like, well, you wouldn't believe what happened to us. And I was like, baby girl, let me believe you. Whatever you say, I already believe you. And almost word for word, what they did to me, they did to them, including, like, pretending cancer. Like, I don't think they had it this time, but, like, their mom did or something. Just bizarre. Like, crazy. So, needless to say, we're going to start, like, a little trauma support group over this because, seriously, like, this is nuts. But yeah, if this also happened to you, like, let's all be friends and let's get drinks and talk about this because what the heck. Anyways, peace and love, guys. That's just, like, I can't believe I'm bringing this up after all this time. But, like, I actually just, like, I think it's the funniest thing. They've not learned their lesson at all. So, whatever. Bye.
Do you want to hear the story that got my grandma kicked out of my family? Unfortunately, the story involves me. Okay, so I am 12 in this story, and we are not talking about my Nana. My Nana that was from the UK was my absolute world. Those grandparents were my life. We are talking about my mom's mom. We called her Nanny. Nanny did not want kids, shocker. Told my mom that all the time, and my mom passed that down to me. So didn't really see her growing up until my little brother was born. When he was born, she was apparently super excited. She always wanted a boy, only got my mom, and she was really, really excited to have a grandson. So once he was born, we visited every single summer. So the older I get, the more obvious it becomes to me and like everyone else that she really, really hates me. So my mom basically was like, it's gonna be pretty easy for me to cut you off, but if you wanna see your grandson, who you love so much, you need to be nicer to Scarlett. So Nanny had a motorhome. I honestly don't know the difference between a motorhome and an RV. I think a motorhome is just smaller. So picture like a small RV. As a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Anytime we got to drive in the motorhome, I was like, so excited. So Nanny knows that I love the motorhome, and Nanny says, I'm gonna take Scarlett on a trip, just her and I. We are going to bond, it's gonna be great. So she decides for April vacation, while I'm in middle school, she's gonna pick me up in the motorhome in Massachusetts, and we are gonna drive all the way to Miami, Florida. I think it was supposed to be like a 4-day journey. I'm excited. I'm thinking that I'm gonna finally get to bond with this lady who has been so mean to me forever. She pulls up. We're all saying our goodbyes. I'm like loading up my stuff into the motorhome. I'm thrilled. As soon as we start pulling away, she says, all right, little bitch, here's how it's gonna go. She's like, this is my bunk. That's your bed. I don't want to hear back talk. I don't want sarcasm. You are seen, not heard while I'm driving. I pick the music, like all these little kind of my house, my rules vibe. My mom's parents are divorced, shocker. And she has been a single lady forever. Like she never remarried, but she's always dating someone. Like Nanny always has a date. Basically, she was like, we are gonna be making several stops. Like each state that we cross, I have a date. And you're just gonna hang out in the motorhome. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of thought we were gonna spend time together, but whatever. She says, I don't believe in banks, so don't go rummaging around in the motorhome because there's stacks of cash. She then says I am not to touch her bunk whatsoever because in the mattress, she has stacks of cash, like they are scattered around the motorhome anyway, but also a pew-pew. Because the world is dangerous and being a woman in the world is really scary. And so she has a pew-pew. But I really want to go to Miami and I want my grandmother to like me. So I'm just kind of like, okay. And every time she's speaking to me, she's calling me little bitch. And before you're like, why aren't you texting home? Like, why didn't you turn the motorhome around? You have to remember what I would be coming home to. Like it wasn't much better at home. And in my 12-year-old head, at least this trip, it's not that different to home, but I'm ending up in Florida. Like that was exciting. So one of our first nights, she has a dinner date and she's gone. And I'm looking through the cupboards because I'm like, what am I gonna have for dinner? I'm just alone in this motorhome parked God knows where. She comes home and she freaks out. She's like, did you use the bathroom? And I'm sure like I had peed while she was gone. She was gone for like several hours on this dinner date. She says, we don't use the motorhome bathroom. Then you have to empty the tank. It's a whole thing. Anytime you have to use the bathroom, tell me and we'll just pull into a gas station. So I'm like, oh, okay, all the time? Like that's kind of scary. I've never like peed at a gas station before. And she says, yes, little bitch, every time. So just keep that one in mind, okay? We're traveling for the next couple of days. It's a weird couple of days, but it's okay. We are slowly approaching Florida. We start like pulling over to different beaches on the way there. The weather's nice. She's working on her tan. She's got a little mirror set up. We get to one of the beaches. I ask for some sunscreen because I'm the color of a napkin. And she says, don't be a little bitch. We don't need sunscreen. I for sure do. So of course, I end up with horrifying burns all over my body. I don't know the degree of what it was, but there were blistering and bubbles. It was awful. She goes on and on about how dramatic I am and my skin is just as dramatic as me and blah, 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 little bitch, little bitch. So my poor little burned body can barely sleep because of all of the blisters. And every time I would move, it would like get stuck to blankets. It was bad. I'm crying, I'm complaining. Then it's like, obviously really upsetting Nanny because she already thinks I'm a little bitch and now I'm being a little bitch about it. She was furious. And while I'm awake and drinking water and trying to like cool down, I say, I need to pee. Can I use the motorhome bathroom? Of course she says no. She's like, I'll take us to a gas station. You'll pee in the gas station. I don't know what time it was, but it was late. Like we were sleeping. She was sleeping. So she pulls us around to some gas station and just says, okay, like, there you go. I'll wait for you here. So I am like, what? It's nighttime. It's dark. The bathroom's always around the gas station. So I have to go in on my own and ask the scary guy for the huge paddle key. And then what? And she's like, you woke me up. Don't be a little bitch. Go. So I do it. I go into the gas station and I'm all embarrassed because I'm covered in blisters and I have to pee. And I ask for the key. He's like, yeah, it's around back. I'm walking in the dark, open the bathroom door, pee, come back out. Motorhome's gone. Motorhome's gone. Nanny's gone. Now, did I have a cell phone? Yeah, I owned one. It was a Nokia little brick thing. Kind of looked like a chocolate. Anyway, that is conveniently in the motorhome because I didn't think to bring my Nokia to the bathroom at the gas station. Should have, didn't. So I'm immediately hysterical, screaming, crying, thinking it's a little prank, realizing it's not a prank. Where's Nanny? I go walking back into the little gas station convenience store, and I'm like, did you see a motorhome? It pulled away. He has no idea what I'm talking about. I ask the gas station guy, can I use the landline? And I call my house, and I'm like, Mom, Nanny did this, and she's only calling me little bitch, and I asked for sunscreen, and I'm covered in burns, and she left me at this gas station. I'm like going off. So my mom is like, what the actual F? Like, no one can do that to my kid except me. So she's like, I'm gonna get off the phone so I can call her so that she can come pick you up, because there was no other way to get her back to me. So my mom calls the gas station back. She's like, the trip's canceled. Your grandma's gonna pick you up and drive you straight to the Miami airport. You're coming home. And I'm like, okay, thank you. The state of Nanny when she pulled up, I swear I could see smoke coming out of her ears. She was so upset. You little bitch, I went on one very quick date. What's a couple hours on your own at 12? Granted, I'm like in my pajamas at a gas station thinking that she's waiting for me. It's not like she dropped me off at the mall. But yeah, I guess she got some kind of booty call that she decided to message while I went into the gas station on my own and just thought that I would be fine. So it was a very quiet drive to the Miami airport. Don't know how far away we were, but she dropped me off straight there. I had never been through an airport on my own before, so I asked if she would walk me to security. She's like, yeah, fine, whatever, okay. So we are just kind of looking straight ahead, not acknowledging each other. I'm exhausted. She's pissed. And by the time I get to security, I realized that she had turned around at some point. She was not there anymore. And we never spoke again.
Story time about the worst date that I've ever been on my entire life. In his car, he's not talking. He's literally not talking. I'm trying to make small talk. He's freaking weird. I'll say something, he'll say something weird in response. I can't even bring myself to fake laugh. Like, why'd you say that? Please take it back. So it's just really weird. And I asked him, I was like, can I see your phone so I can play some music? And he was like, yeah, here you go. He hands it to me. I get on his Apple Music. Every single playlist is named after me and has my picture as the cover picture. All of them. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, am I gonna get home today? I don't know. I really don't know anymore. So I act like I don't see it. And then he's like, did you see? Did you see my playlist? I was like, I saw him. Then he takes me go-kart racing. He wouldn't tell me where he was taking me. So I was like, he's gonna take me to the woods and kill me. Like, he's my stalker. Nah, he takes me go-karting, which is just a thing in itself. We get there, they're closed. So we sit in his car for 30 minutes till they open, which he's not talking, so I get on my phone, right? Wrong. He starts looking over at my phone. He's like, who are you texting? Who are you talking to? Now, you don't know me. You don't know. I don't have to tell you who I'm talking to. And if I did tell him who I was talking to, he'd get all butthurt. What do you want me to say? I'm texting other boys. I'm texting my hoes right now. But if I said that, you get all butthurt. So maybe mind your own, huh? Then he takes me to Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell. But also first date, really? Anyhow, we get there. He spills mild sauce all down his white hoodie. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like, I'll get napkins. And he was like, no. He gets out of the car, slams the door, leaves me in there to eat my Taco Bell. So I'm just eating my Taco Bell while he's in the bathroom for like 15 minutes, clean himself up. Comes back out with a smudged round stain. He was like, I don't have another hoodie. And I was like, it's okay. Like, he's throwing a fit. And then he was like, wait, I might have a jacket in my back seat. So then he goes back, his trunk. He goes to his trunk, gets this winter coat, puts it on, gets back in the car. I was like, okay, great. And he puts his elbow in my nacho cheese sauce. And I was like, hey, you just put your elbow in my nacho cheese sauce. He was like, are you kidding me? Which I was just like, whoa. So then he goes inside, leaves me in his car to eat my Taco Bell again. I'm already done. By the time he comes back out and starts eating his food, I'm done. So he's just sitting there eating for 30 minutes. We're not talking. We're not. Can't be on my phone because he's a nosy little hoe bag. So then he's like, now I'm going to take you to Six Flags. What? We just went go-kart racing and then Taco Bell. Now Six Flags? Okay. So then we go to Six Flags and he pays to park. He pays $30. He's like, I can't believe I just paid $30 to park at Six Flags. You planned the date. Why are you yelling at me? So then we go into Six Flags. I don't want to be there. I'm trying to hint, like, I'm so tired. Like, I really just need a nap. Like, you picked me up so early this morning. I haven't been getting up till noon every day. He's not taking the hint. He's like, what if you just took a nap in this line and then by the time you woke up, we could go on the ride? He was so weird. He was so weird. And ugly! I'm sorry. That's not nice. It's real. It's real. I'm not being a mean girl. I mean a real girl here. So then we get in line for another ride. And who's behind me? Directly behind me, but 3 people from my school. 3. And so I tell him, I was like, hey, don't turn around. There's people from my school behind us, and I'm not really friends with them. And he was like, I'm going to stare at them. And I was like, no, you're not. Don't be a freak. And then he was like, I'm just going to stare at them until they get uncomfortable and look away. Which I'm like, I'm going to kill myself. What if I just shoot myself right now? I don't want to be seen with him. I don't need them thinking that we're together. Like, at most, they can think we're cousins. I'm trying to distance myself away from him. He's buddy right up next to me no matter how far I scoot away. I'm up against the rail and he's up on me. And I'm scared for my life. Then we finally get on the ride. Who are we sitting next to? But of course, those 3 people. There's no way they didn't see me with him. There's no way they didn't know we were on a date because he was so freaking touchy-feely with me. So then we go on another ride. He puts his hand out for me to hold. And I was like, I shove it in my pocket as fast as I can. And I was like, sorry, my hands are really cold. And then he was like, you don't have to make excuses. Obviously, I do. Obviously, you're making me make excuses, putting your hand out like I want to hold it or something. Then we go on this last ride. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do more than this. So we get on a ride. I have my back pushed against the wall so he can't put his arm around me because he's so close to me I can smell him, and it is not a good smell. So I was just like, he can't put his arm around me if he can't get his hand behind me. He tries his best. He starts going, ooh, he makes a breakthrough behind my back, has his arm around me. And I guess he could see by the look on my face, which I was just like, he was like, wait, is it okay if I put my arm around you? And I was like, well, it's already there. It's already there. You already did. What's the point asking now? So then finally I was just like, we get off this ride. I was like, I'm ready to go home. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Sorry. And he was like, well, I had a really nice dinner planned for us after this with your favorite food, chicken Alfredo. And I was like, it's not my favorite food. And he was like, your sister lied to me. She told me chicken Alfredo was your favorite food. He pulls out the messages. She was like, I don't know. She likes chicken Alfredo, kind of. He's arguing with me about how this is my favorite food. My sister didn't even say that was my favorite food. She said I liked it. And I was like, sorry, like, I just feel kind of sick and tired. Like, could you just take me home? He was like, well, my buddy isn't going to be home until 9 o'clock tonight. So I would just be alone at his house if you don't hang out with me longer. And I was like, not my monkeys, not my circus. Get in the car, and then he makes me get out of the car to take a picture with him. He parked all the way out in BFE. It's the longest walk. We're walking. We're not talking. We're not. So we get to his car, and he's like, can you get out and take a picture with me really fast? Which I'm like, why couldn't we take a picture in the car? But whatever. Take a picture. I'm literally like, because I cannot pretend to be happy when I'm not. I just can't. I can't. So we get back in the car, and he's like just staring at me, and I'm like trying to not look at him because I'm not trying to get kissed. And so I was like, I'll put my address in your phone right now. And so I do. And then he's just sitting there like, and I was like, drive, take me home. Let's go. We get back up to my house and we get to my gate. And I get out, I hop out the car to get the gate. And I was like, you just leave me here. I'll walk back. Which I have a crazy long driveway. So like, you know I want it out of there. And he was like, no, that's so rude. I have to walk you up to your front door and meet your parents. I was like, my parents are home. They're not home. You can't meet them, sorry. And I didn't want him walking all the way up to my front door because, like, my bedroom door kind of is just, like, on the side of the house. And I was like, you can just park up next to my bedroom door so you don't have to walk. So he pulls up to my bedroom door, still gets outside of the car to walk me out, and gives me the world's longest hug, which is a stinky boy. He was a stinky boy. And then I pull away, and I was like, okay, bye. And he was like, wait. Like, and gives me like the, and I was like, drive safe. And I run inside to my bedroom. I'm like, great, I escaped. Wrong. He starts yelling my name from my bedroom. Jade! 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 Come back! And I was like, this isn't real. This isn't real. So I run into my mom's bedroom because she actually is home, and I was telling her, and he's calling me nonstop, text me like, Jay, come back. And she was like, you probably left something in his car. I was like, I did not leave anything in that man's car. And I was like, he wants me to kiss him. Then he texts me, can I kiss you before I leave? I was like, I don't kiss on the first date. He was like, sorry for even asking. I'm sorry too. So I think he's gone. He goes up to my gate and acts like he can't open it. It's literally just a latch, and you just push it open. And he was like, it's fine, I'll just wait here till your mama gets home and she can save me. I was like, no sir, she won't save you, please leave. And he was like, oh, I figured it out, bye. So then I'm like, okay, great, I can ghost him. He's texting me paragraphs every day, be like, please don't ghost me. He's getting ghosted. I'm sorry.
Get ready with me while I tell you how my ex cheated on me. Oh God. Here with Prime Video to celebrate the launch of Wilderness, and it's about cheating. I thought it tied in perfectly with how my ex cheated on me. Never told this story before, so we were in a long distance relationship. He came to visit me from Paris to London. I thought it would be a really good idea to greet him with a literal plaque, basically standing like an idiot at King's Cross Station. He comes out the Eurostar, it's all cute and romantic. Go back to my family home, bear in mind, and we have a nice evening together. The next morning comes and he wakes up really early and he was like, babe, I need to go meet up with some friends. And I said to him, you don't have any friends in London. He goes on to say, oh no, I made some friends in Paris and they want to see me. And I was like, a bit weird, but okay, go see your friends. So I get on with my day and it gets to 6 p.m. and I'm like, are you gonna come home? He was like, oh, I'm running a bit late. Finally gets home at like 7 p.m. Me being delusional again, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But then we go to bed. And I swear to God, in the 2 years of us being together, I had never even thought about going through his phone. But my gut was screaming at me. So he goes to sleep. And for about 20 minutes, I'm praying that I would not find anything because I was so in love with this man. I go to his side of the bed and I go to WhatsApp. Not even a girl's name, a nickname. My sexy tourist. My heart fell through my chest. Texts on texts. My heart broke in that moment, I'm not gonna lie. He had obviously met this girl in Paris and had been seeing her. He was like, Kiara, I can't help, I met someone else. It's the first thing he said to me. At this point, I nearly called the police on him. He obviously then apologized and was like, no, I love you so much. I was like, get out of my house. It was the worst night of my entire life. Anyway, yeah, so I can tell you this now because I'm over it. But yeah, that was a whirlwind. Because Wilderness is about cheating, I was like, I need to tell my story now.
This teenager was so obsessed with serial killers that she wanted to become one. She idolized and worshipped serial killers so much that at only 18 years old, she wanted to dedicate her life to becoming the most famous and prolific serial killer in all of history. This is a case from Germany, and due to Germany's strict privacy laws, a lot of information from today's case is actually missing, including the true identity of our killer. So we're just gonna call her Sarah. And Sarah, unlike most killers, actually had a pretty good childhood. She seemingly had really loving, supportive parents. She got good grades, she had a lot of friends, and then everything changed when she became a teenager. And you know, a bit of teenage rebellion is normal. Sarah started dressing in darker clothes, listening to heavier music, skipping school from time to time, but things were much darker than that. At only 16 years old, Sarah spread a rumor about herself at school that she was an S worker, like a lady of the night. This wasn't true, but like Sarah's friends started to realize that Sarah was lying all the time. It seemed like she liked to shock people. She liked attention, even if it was negative attention. And actually really quick, because I just realized I forgot to say this in my intro, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me for more or longer content, especially if all of this goes away. So the second episode of Hot on the Case is out right now, and you can find all the platforms where you can find it on my profile. Now back to the case. It was around this time that Sarah got her first ever boyfriend, a boy named Leon, and the relationship was really intense, and Leon actually ended up breaking up with Sarah because he was scared of her, and for good reason, because as soon as he broke up with her, she started planning how she would kill him. At this point, Sarah's interests, her life have gotten so dark and disturbing. Sarah became obsessed with serial killers, and I'm not talking about an interest in true crime or being fascinated with psychology, Sarah worshipped these serial killers. She idolized them. She was crushing on them like some serial killer fangirl, especially Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He was the background on her phone, and also she had posters of him and Ted Bundy covering her bedroom. And at this point, she's 17 years old to like early 18 years old. And I'm just wondering what her family, like her parents, think about all this. Sarah began fantasizing about becoming a serial killer, but Sarah didn't want to be like any serial killer. She wanted to be the most famous and prolific of all time. Sarah wanted to have more victims than any other serial killer in history. And she began like Googling how she was going to do that. She literally made a Google search that said, what is the best way to become a serial killer? So clearly she's no evil genius. In April of 2021, she bought a very large 12-inch sharp weapon and then began hunting for her first victims. Sarah signed up for like a bunch of dating apps and sugar baby sites under the username Domina Cherry. Her bio on these dating sites was that she was a teen girl who had never slept with anyone before, but was also into like really rough stuff. And she planned to meet a bunch of men this way because at this point she decided like she really just hated men and wanted to kill all men after her breakup with Leon. And she planned to meet men this way and then lure them into like a secluded area where she would end their lives. Because of the certain bio that Domina Cherry chose for her dating sites and her like sugar baby sites, she started getting a lot of attention. She actually got over 220 messages from men on these sites in less than 3 days. Sarah had a date planned for May 3rd, May 4th, and May 5th, with the plan to kill each man on each date 3 days in a row. But her first victim that Sarah chose was a 39-year-old man named Zayed. And he messaged her on May 1st, and they planned to meet up that very night. Sarah had already told a handful of her friends about her plans to become this terrible serial killer, but right before she planned to meet up with Zayed, Sarah actually left a voicemail for one of her friends, a girl named Francesca, saying that she was about to kill her first one and to wish her good luck. And I know Sarah is like known for being a liar at this point, but like when Francesca gets that voicemail from Sarah, she doesn't go to the police, she doesn't tell anyone. All Francesca does is make a Google search of her own. Can I get in trouble if I know about a murder? The answer is yes. Zayed picked Sarah up around 8 p.m. and she directed him to a remote cabin that her family owned in the woods that actually did not exist. And once Sarah had Zayed turn onto like a secluded dirt road, she took out her 12-inch sharp weapon and plunged it into his neck. Zayed actually attempted to like fight off Sarah, and he was able to like hold his wound to stop the bleeding, and he just like took off. He ran towards the main road where a car stopped. They like helped him like a little bit because the person in the car was actually a nurse, and then they called the ambulance. The ambulance came and rushed him to the hospital. Meanwhile, Sarah is like also panicking, and she also ran away towards like the nearest town because Sarah didn't expect Zayed to like fight back. She just thought that he would automatically die. Sarah ran all the way to a nearby town, and she's looking completely disheveled. She's covered in blood, and she's just whispering to herself, I'm a killer. I'm a murderer. So onlookers in the town called 911, obviously. Sarah was arrested and taken into police custody like 30 minutes after attacking Zayed. And I find it so funny, well, not funny because she's a killer, but you know what I mean, that Sarah wanted to be this like prolific serial killer that never got caught, and she was gonna have the most victims of any serial killer ever. And she got caught like 30 minutes later, like a half hour later. And I call Sarah a killer because although the hospital did as much as they could, the damage that Sarah did to Zayed was just far too much, and he did pass away surrounded by his family. And Zayed has definitely been scrutinized in his case for his decision to want to meet up with an 18-year-old girl. But Zayed's loved ones say that Zayed was a very good man. He was not the type to like look for hookups. And at the time of his death, he was looking for a long-term relationship and to settle down. And Sarah has never shown remorse once, and actually has only ever felt bad for herself because she got caught too early and didn't kill more men. And behind bars, Sarah actually tried to get her mom to kill her ex-boyfriend Leon because that was like her main target all along. Her mom said no, by the way. I don't think I made that clear. Her mom said she would not do that. And due to Sarah's young age, she received no prison time and was actually only sentenced to 12 years in a psychiatric hospital, and she could be released when she's 31 years old, which honestly really, really terrifies me because I think Sarah is a scary, scary girl and a danger to society. And as for Sarah's friend Francesca, who got that voicemail and knew that Sarah planned to kill Zayed, she was arrested and was facing 5 years in prison, but the charges were dropped. And that's all I have for today's case. Hope you guys all had a very happy new year, happy holidays, and I hope you guys know that you guys were truly one of the biggest blessings of my 2024. Make sure you guys all check out the second episode of Hot on the Case, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you.
Let me tell you my most embarrassing story. I was in year 7, so I was like 11, 12 maybe, and I need a wee. So I go to the toilet, I'm weeing, and then a group of girls come in. And I knew from their voices, I was like, shit. Because these girls, they were older than me and they shat the life out of me. I knew it was go time. I sat in that stall and I braced myself. Oh my God, it sounds like an elephant is pissing. Her piss is so loud. It gets worse. Maybe she needs some water because it fucking stinks in here. I was being bullied at the time as well for being ginger and ugly and weird, because I was. And so I just cried. Oh my God, is she crying? That's so embarrassing. When I tell you I wanted to be flushed down that toilet, I've never wanted to die more in my life. That's not true actually, but anyway. So I go back to form, I'm trying to hide my tears to make sure no one sees me because me crying was a daily occurrence at that point. Miss Pennock sees it straight away. Big up Miss Pennock, love you. She's like, you're crying, who made you cry? And I'm like, no Miss Pennock, this one's really embarrassing, I don't want to talk about it. Who made you cry? And I'm like, so she runs, she sprints down the corridor, tells head of fucking house. The girls get detention, but this is the best part. When they're in detention, all they had to do for 2 hours was write me apology letters for saying that my piss stank. They had to write formal apology letters on proper, perfect paper in envelopes saying, I'm sorry I took the piss out of your piss. And I received them the next day, sat on my fucking desk, like, welcome back to your nightmare of secondary school. Here's the letters of people apologising for taking the piss out of your piss. I still have them. They are somewhere. I saw them the other day, and that's why I'm telling you the story, because I was like, oh, I forgot about that. That's my story about some group of girls taking the piss out of me. Quite literally. If you're watching this, I hope you're doing well. I drink more water now.
So I heard that some of you guys have your English GCSE very soon, and that brought me back to a year ago when I was doing my English GCSE, and it was a traumatic experience, okay? So I'm going to tell you why, and hopefully convince none of you guys to do what I did, because it was not good, and I know there are people thinking about doing it. So I had always loved English GCSE. It had been my favourite subject by far. I loved literature, and I was like generally pretty good at English. Like I really loved it, right? And English literature paper 1 was one of the first exams that I had, so naturally, like the day before, I was doing so much revision, and I had been doing English literature revision for like a month prior to that, so really I did not need any more revision. Like I was fine, I was set. And all of that went down the drain. Like literally all of the 5 years of learning the bloody same books over and over again, all of it went down the drain from this one decision that I decided to do the day before the exam, and that was to do an all-nighter. I was so paranoid I'd get like a terrible question that I didn't know anything about. I was so paranoid about everything. I was just convinced that I was not prepared enough, and I definitely was. So I stayed up all night revising like so much. I went to bed at like 5 and I woke up like 6:30, so yeah, I didn't have any sleep. Like I woke up extremely tired, so I was just like, I'm just gonna, you know, like wake up from a quick power nap, and I'm just gonna drink this like really strong coffee, and then on top of that I thought it was a great idea to have a caffeine pill, you know, to combat my extreme tiredness. Worst idea of my life. So I woke up that day, I had all that stuff, and I was feeling good. I was like honestly feeling like I was gonna ace this test. Like there was nothing wrong with how I was feeling. I was like, I'm just gonna do this test, I'll go home and I'll just go to sleep. Like, it's fine. I'll just like power through this one test. Even when I went to the exam, I was like feeling really confident. I opened that test paper and I got a Lady Macbeth question, and I was so happy. I was grinning from ear to ear. I was so happy. I was feeling so good about this. And I knew Lady Macbeth from the back of my palm. Like, I knew her, like I knew everything about her. But as soon as I started writing, as soon as I started trying to like think of what to write or to recall any quotes, memory gone. Like, my memory was completely wiped. Like, all the 5 years of revision, like that whole like all-nighter of just revising so much, and I did a lot of Lady Macbeth that night, gone. I couldn't remember anything. And at that point, I feel like all the caffeine that I just had taken, and bear in mind, this was on an empty stomach. I didn't have anything to eat because I didn't have time. All that was in my system was just caffeine, like really, like loads and loads of like really strong caffeine. My body was feeling really weird. Like, honestly, I was so focused on everything else but my test. I couldn't focus. Like, I could hear so much, and I could like smell the farts before they even came out people's butts. I swear it was like Stefan Salvatore would say, all my senses were heightened. Everything was just on 1,000%, and I felt so jittery, and my stomach was feeling so bad, and like, oh my god, and I could, oh, it was so bad, and I had like this ringing in my ear the whole time, and I couldn't focus. I literally could, oh my god, I'm actually getting like PTSD just thinking about it. Like, even like, oh my god, I don't know how to explain it. It was so bad, and I couldn't remember anything. I wasn't able to finish my essay. Like, it was so bad. And so naturally, I came out of the exam bawling my eyes out. Like, I was crying so much, and like I ran out of that exam. I remember, this is such a vivid memory. I ran out of that exam, and then I ran into like the bathroom and I started crying, and then I came out, my eyes were like so red, and I think like the head of year saw me. He saw, oh, this is so embarrassing. He saw me like, oh, having a mental breakdown. He like brought me into his office, and he called my parents saying that I was having a panic attack, and low-key I was. So he called my parents to come get me, and in the meantime he also called in my English teacher. She also came in, and she saw me like crying. I was crying on the opposite. Oh, it was so embarrassing. And I was just, because I was really scared, right, because I had to get like at least a 6 in like English and maths to get into the IB, which is something I had been planning on doing. So I was really scared I wasn't gonna get my 6 anymore because of this flopped exam. And then one of the things that the head of year said, he was like, it's alright, you know, you're always welcome, no matter what you get in the exam, you're always welcome in our 6th form. And I was like, low-key, that made me want to cry even more, because I did not want to go to that 6th form. Like, honestly, I was gonna start bullying even more after he said that. No shade to that school, but I just really did not want to go to their 6th form. I didn't want to go to 6th form in general, and I wanted to go to this exact college and do this exact program. But I locked in for paper 2 and treated my body right. I went to sleep, I had breakfast, and I did so well on that paper that I ended up getting a 7 in English literature, which I was so surprised with. But yeah, so moral of the story, if you're planning on doing an all-nighter, don't do it. It's literally like, I literally saw a video the other day explaining that biologically your brain is going to do that. Like, it was so weird because it was literally like a mirror of exactly what happened to me. Like, the video was explaining that like you do an all-nighter, you wake up feeling good, and when it goes to your exam, like your memory is just going to be completely wiped, so your brain can't process, your brain can't focus. And I think that, along with all like the caffeine, everything was so bad. And yeah, so if you take anything from this video, is please don't do an all-nighter. No matter how unprepared you feel, don't do it. Trust me. You won't be able to retain information. It's so bad. But yeah, so I hope I convinced some of you guys to not do an all-nighter. I hope you all have an amazing day. Good luck with your English exams. I hope it went better than mine did. Yeah, I love you all so much. Bye bye.